Welcome back to another episode of Cali Hood Historian. In this video, we delve into the story of Ronald Looney Barron, a man who transformed his life from gang violence to becoming a highly regarded community activist. Looney's early life. Looney was born around 1969 and grew up with dreams of becoming a professional baseball player. However, life had other plans for him. By the 1980s, Los Angeles had become a war zone, with both established and emerging gangs spreading across the county. Looney grew up on the west side of Los Angeles, where gangs like the Playboy Gangsta Crips, the Schoolyard Crips, the Marvin Gangsta Crips, the Venice Shorelines, and the Mansfield Gangsta Crips dominated the streets. Living and growing up in this environment, Looney eventually joined the Mansfield Gangsta Crips. Originally known as the Mansfield Hustlers, the group evolved into the Mansfield Crips during the 1980s and quickly found themselves in violent conflicts with rival gangs. As an early member of the Mansfields, Looney played a significant role in shaping the gang's reputation. He was deeply involved in the gang's activities, living a wild and dangerous life filled with altercations, fights, shootouts, and stints in juvenile detention. Despite the chaos, he also became a father at a young age. Looney's life took a drastic turn when he was sent to prison for attempted murder. However, his time behind bars did not immediately change his ways. Upon his release, he returned to the streets and the same destructive lifestyle. Over time, though, Looney began to see the toll this life was taking, not just on himself but on those around him. Friends and family were being incarcerated or losing their lives, and Looney decided it was time for a change. He took a step toward transformation, leaving behind the violence and chaos that had defined his past. Looney's turning point came when he became involved in NFL legend Jim Brown's American program. This empowerment organization provides individuals with the tools needed to transition into more positive lives. Looney embraced this mission wholeheartedly. For over a decade, Looney dedicated himself to community activism and gang intervention in Los Angeles. Drawing from his own experiences, he inspired and motivated others to change their lives. His efforts made him a cornerstone of the gang outreach community, helping to stop violence and rebuild neighborhoods. The activist. Looney's legacy as a community leader and peacemaker in Los Angeles stands as a powerful testament to the possibility of redemption and transformation. His journey from a life of crime to one of service reminds us all that change is possible, no matter how far one has fallen. Much of Looney's work took place in schools such as Horace Mann Middle School, Thurgood Marshall Charter High School, and others. Looney and his team taught their program's 60-hour curriculum, which focused on responsibility, self-determination, developing community support systems, and addressing issues such as gang violence, drugs, and alcohol abuse. Looney also visited numerous juvenile camps and detention centers, where he spoke to kids about their life choices. Having once been in their shoes, his words carried weight and authenticity. A civil rights attorney once remarked about Looney, "There are a lot of con artists who claim to be gang interventionists. Looney was one of the genuine ones. He was dedicated, and he was trusted by everyone. That's a pretty rare status." Despite all the good he had done and was continuing to do, Looney's story ended in tragedy. On February 7, 2010, at around 9 p.m., Looney was on the 5,000 block of West Pico Boulevard, near the Barnes neighborhood. The Super Bowl had just ended, and he was heading home with his girlfriend. Investigators believe Looney confronted a suspect whom he believed was a tagger spray painting walls in the area of Pico and Sycamore Street. During a brief exchange in the middle of Pico Boulevard, Looney reportedly told the 16-year-old tagger, "We don't do that over here. We keep our community clean." The teenager, however, did not take kindly to the admonishment. The suspect pulled out a gun and shot Looney in the chest and head. Looney fell to the ground but tried to get back up before collapsing again. He lay motionless in the street, bleeding from his mouth. Emergency services transported Looney to a local hospital, but he was pronounced dead from his injuries the next morning. Homicide and gang detectives quickly arrested a suspect in connection with the murder. The suspect, a minor at the time, was not initially named. Known as a tagger in the area, he had written West Side C, meaning catching all enemies, on the walls. The 16-year-old suspect, later identified as Mark, was caught on surveillance footage from a nearby business. The footage showed the gunman wearing dark clothing and arguing with Looney in front of several witnesses. Fall of Looney. Looney's death was a profound loss for his community and surrounding areas in Los Angeles. He turned around hardcore gang members, said the executive director of Project Cry No More, a Compton-based group supporting mothers of children killed in gang violence. Fears of escalating violence and retaliation over Looney's killing led to the mayor's office holding gang intervention meetings to prevent further bloodshed. An emotional candlelight vigil was held the night after Looney's death at the scene of the shooting. At his trial, Mark spoke about the killing, saying, "As you guys all know, the incident occurred when I was 16. That doesn't excuse my decision. I'd like to say I'm sorry. First of all, I'm sorry for the pain. The truth is, I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart." Despite his apology, Mark was sentenced to 29 years in prison. He has been incarcerated since 2012. Now 30 years old, Mark went before the parole board in February 2024 but was denied parole for 3 years due to unsuitability. He is expected to be eligible to see the board again in 2027, when he will likely try for another chance at freedom. Mark's actions took away a man who was deeply loved and admired, and the loss was felt throughout the city. Looney was one of the key figures in reducing the grip of gangs in several neighborhoods, becoming a prominent force for change in the urban communities of Los Angeles. His past life in gangs did not define his future. Looney chose to walk the right path, dedicating his life to helping others and creating a positive impact. Even in his final moments, he was striving to make a difference and protect his community in the right way.